All right, so we are live, and this has been a little bit of a challenge getting going. It's incredible how different it is this year from last year. So, really don't want to take up too much time. For those of you who might be wondering about some of the other videos on my channel, just to let you know, this does not have anything to do with whether the world is flat or round. What I'm talking about right now is fantasy football. So let's kind of dive into each team. And I want to burn each team to the ground right now. So I'm going to start off with our favorite team. I don't think it's anyone's favorite team. Buffalo Bills. By the way, the Buffalo Bills this year are changing their name from Bills to Bill. They're going to drop the S. It used to stand for, boy, I love losing Super Bowls. But with their current trend, they just decided, hey, let's go with boy, I love losing. Ba-dum. I'm wondering if you guys can hear me. If you want to give a shout out, if you can hear me, and we will try and keep this thing rolling. But I think I'm going to pause and restart the stream. I just want to know if people can hear or not. So let's see here. It says I have 2 viewers. Yeah, you guys hit me up if you can hear me, so we can keep this thing going. I haven't seen or heard anything. So this is kind of difficult to do without any feedback. I hope, of course, you guys will. Let's see here. Got 2 playbacks. Let's see if we've got a live chat here. So let's see here. Can anyone hear me? As I was saying earlier, it's amazing just how different this is. Okay. We've got someone who's in. The geographist. Great. Can you hear me? Go ahead and hit up on that chat window if you can hear me. I'm not seeing anything. It makes me concerned that no one can actually hear me in this, which would be a real disappointment. Great. I just got confirmation that you can hear me. So, we've got 2 viewers. I think what I want to do is I want to kind of restart this whole thing. Just really start from scratch. So, cut and action. Okay. When you want to say something, go ahead and put it on the group chat. If it's family friendly, I will read it out loud. Welcome to the Foundation Fantasy Football Draft Party. And I want to go over each team, and really all I want to do is cover a couple real quick details about them for those who might not know, and then burn the team to the ground. So, let's get going. We are looking at the Buffalo Bills, and in case you didn't hear it before, I'm going to go ahead and tell you my joke, which is the Bills used to stand for boy, I love losing Super Bowls, but due to their current trajectory, this year they are dropping the S. That's right, it's just boy, I love losing now. Ba-dum-tsh. In reality, they got rid of LaShawn McCoy. They've added Frank Gore to their running back core. They've also added a couple of wide receivers, John Brown, Cole Beasley. that's really all that we really can say about the Buffalo Bills. Moving on to the Miami Dolphins. Let's see here. There we are. Miami was at the bottom of the league in field goals and extra points made last year. And it's no surprise because Dolphins are triggered when the Nets come out. Get it? The Nets for the field goal kicking. Anyway, Miami is the worst thing to happen to Dolphins since SeaWorld. And just like SeaWorld, people pay hundreds of dollars to watch Dolphins suffer right in front of their eyes. The team got rid of Ryan Tannehill, so hasta la vista him. They've got Ryan Fitzpatrick, so we'll see how that works out for them. They did sign Allen Hurns, and they sent Kenny Stills and Danny Amendola away at wide receiver. They shopped out Frank Gore and Kiko Alonso as well, so the team has had some changes. Moving on to the New England Patriots. New England maintains that Deflategate was a witch hunt. Maybe they should read a little bit of their own history to appreciate exactly what a witch hunt means before they throw that kind of shade. They don't exactly have the best record when it comes to witch hunts. Now, in reality, Josh Gordon is back at wide receiver for now. Gronk did retire, and Izzo is the primary tight end in New England. Also, Patterson, Hogan, and Thomas are all gone from the wide receiver room. Well, Thomas was kind of temporarily. We'll see where he winds up for sure. So it's a very interesting situation going on in New England in the wide receiver room. Keep track of that, fantasy nerds. Looking now at the New York Jets, and that is a terribly small picture. I don't know what happened there. Wow, that is really terrible. If a football team were airlines, as the Jets would imply, then the Jets couldn't be United because United actually beats people. Hey, we've got something that says Tunsil gone from Miami to Houston. And that's an eagle-eyed Houstonian fan right there. Thank you, the geographist. Again, if it's clean, I will read it out loud. Let's move off of the Jets here to the Baltimore Ravens. What is going on with my pictures? I really have no idea why they're suddenly turning out so small. That's very tragic. But the Ravens have so few offensive weapons that not even the Baltimore Police Department could frame them. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to keep it family friendly, but I'm not above throwing some very deep shade here, so just bear with me on this. I'm going to flex a little bit here. And moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals. Is there any way that this gets larger? Maybe. Oh, I know what it is. It's this. Okay. Well, it may not get bigger. Well, these are the things that happens when you get really bogged down in trying to get a video set up that you don't check everything. So Cincinnati Bengals. What can we say about them? Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers have 2 more wins in the Bengals' stadium than the Bengals do. Which, by the way, the Bengals have never won a playoff game there. That's right. Cincinnati has never won a playoff game in their own home stadium, and the Steelers have done so twice. So that's really sad. They do have a new head coach. A.J. Green is attempting to get back onto the field, so keep an eye on that one, but he's not back fully yet. They've done some other changes, but Cincinnati is someone that you want to keep a close eye on as far as how that situation is going, because it's a whole new situation, whole new ball game really that year. Cleveland Browns. Well, the Cleveland Browns, I can just see the headlines now with their new head coach. Kitchens is hot because of Baker's turnovers. Or maybe Baker really hated Peppers. Or The inevitable baker is only as good as kitchens. Brownies are declared a disappointment. The Browns really did make some big splashy moves. They got Odell Beckham Jr. They pulled in Kareem Hunt, who's still suspended for the first half of the season. Duke Johnson and Carlos Hyde at running back are out. Like I said, they've got a new head coach. And they've drafted a new kicker. They've made a lot of changes all around the squad. Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, so what do we say about them? Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you think that their towels are terrible, wait till you see their game plan. It's almost as good as their relationships with their star players. The Steelers, they're so easy to mock. They shipped out Antonio Brown. They drove Le'Veon Bell out of town. But they still have Big Ben. They've upgraded, Juju Smith to the number one wide receiver. Dante Moncrief is in. They did send Jesse James to Detroit. They do say they're going to go tight end by committee. Of course, so does everyone after seeing just how popular the Patriots' plans are. So, that's the Steelers for you. Houston Texans. This one's going to hit a little bit close to home for some of you guys. What does the Texans organization give their amazing quarterback who is stuck behind such an abysmal O-line? In fact, he got sacked more than anyone else last year. That's right, PTSD. That's what they give him. Not an O-line, just PTSD. Well, Lamar Miller is out for the season. They did add Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson, both interestingly from the same team. They signed Kenny Stills. They moved on from Ryan Griffin at tight end. They picked up Darren Fells instead. They've made some moves, especially Jadeveon Clowney at defense. So there's a lot of churn going on in that organization, but they still do have a chance at their division because of the next team. That's right, we're talking about the Indianapolis Colts. Well, what do you say about Andrew Luck? I mean, they're out of luck. Oh, Dallas fan. Wait till you hear the joke I have for Dallas, okay? It'll make you feel better. Anyway, Andrew Luck. He had that horrific shoulder injury. And he lasted longer in the organization than Chuck Pagano, who had cancer. Chuck Pagano survived cancer, but he couldn't survive Andrew Luck's shoulder injury. And then Andrew Luck decided, I got Pagano out, and now I'm in. And it's like, I've decided to give up, and I'm excited about this decision, and I want to see where it takes me. So yes, Andrew Luck is retired. Jacoby Brissett is now the starter. They signed Brian Hoyer as the backup quarterback. Geographer says, and Tunsil, great left tackle. Okay. You're right. They did sign a left tackle. They need better O-line help, and hopefully he will keep Deshaun Watson from getting killed. They picked up Devin Funchess at wide receiver. They made a few moves on defense, like Justin Houston on the D-line. They really thought they had a championship squad, but they really dropped the ball with the Andrew Luck situation and how late it was, and not really a good move for this season. It kind of makes it a lost season, I think. All right, Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville is the only team in NFL history to have a top 5 draft pick 6 years in a row. But what did they do with that? They drafted Blaine Gabbert ahead of J.J. Watt. Oops! They drafted a punter instead of Russell Wilson. Okay, so that's just sad. That's not even joking. That's just sad. So Blake Bortles is gone. Nick Foles is now the quarterback. T.J. Yeldon is gone. They moved on from Dante Moncrief, but they did sign Chris Conley at wide receiver. They signed Jeff Swaim as a starting tight end. They're going with 2 tight end sets, they say. Again, So now we have the Tennessee Titans. I surveyed 1,000 people who I asked them who the best Titans coach was. Survey says Denzel Washington. But I really should get some likes for that one, and I'm sorry if you don't like that joke, then you're on the wrong channel. You just need to move on. So shout out if you did like that joke. But they've got Ryan Tannehill. Is he the backup quarterback? Do we know that? Marcus Mariota and Ryan Tannehill. We're not really sure who the long-term quarterback is going to be for that organization. Maybe neither. They did sign Adam Humphries at wide receiver and did some wide free agency stuff with their defense. All right. Denver Broncos. The Broncos just need 2 W's to go from Broncos to Brown Cows. But at their current trajectory, it'll be a few years before they get those W's. Oh, snap. So Case Keenum is no longer the quarterback. Instead, they're going with Joe Flacco. I think Elway's on a mission to make sure he's remembered as the greatest quarterback who ever lived in the Broncos organization. That seems to be his plan. They did move on from Demaryius Thomas. Cortland Sutton and Emmanuel Sanders are now the top wide receivers there. We'll see what happens with Cortland because that was his rookie season, I believe, last year. So it's just, we'll see. We are the Titans, and we couldn't beat the Disney version. That's right, geographists. Thanks for chiming in there. All right, so moving on to the Kansas City Chiefs. KC, man, they were so close to the championship last year. That was a nail-biter. Just when it seemed like the Chiefs might actually overcome their playoff curse, Hill and Hunt collude to make sure that the Chiefs will never go to the Super Bowl unless they pay for the tickets like the rest of us. Kareem Hunt, of course, got in trouble, and he's now at Cleveland Browns. Tyreek Hill is constantly just playing with the law. It seems like the Chiefs are just trying to curse themselves into oblivion. But maybe they'll succeed. Los Angeles Chargers. All right, LAC. What's the difference between 0 and 32? The Chargers. You see, the Lions may have gone 0 and 16 before it was cool, but see, the Chargers were the only thing that kept the Browns from doing it back to back. Now they're in a new city. They abandoned their fan base. So to double the fans in their stands, they just tell Phillip Rivers that it's bring your kids to work day every Sunday. Okay. So that was... All right, we got another thing here. KC are the Ravens of this decade. Jailbirds. Yeah. Definitely can make that charge. Get it? Chargers? Charge? I know, it was about Kansas City, but hey. You take the puns where you can find them if you're a dad, which I am. All right, Oakland Raiders. Oakland. Tim Tebow has more playoff wins than the Oakland Raiders since he joined the league. Yeah. Apparently a playoff win is like a good pass rusher. They're just so hard to find. Right, Khalil Mack? Right? Okay, so that joke's kind of last year, but hey. They have Antonio Brown and went wide receiver, and they picked up a lot of backup quarterbacks, like a lot. They have a new lead running back, Josh Jacobs, that they drafted, and a new slot receiver that they drafted, Hunter Renfrow, and it's a whole new organization after they said goodbye to Amari Cooper and picked up J.J. Nelson, and Jerry Cook is out at tight end, and Darren Walker. There's a lot of stuff going on in Oakland. It's just hard to keep track and wrap your head around. Now we get to my favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't have any jokes for them. No, I'm just teasing. Lee Harvey Oswald is still the most accurate man in Dallas history. And mic drop. Moving on. So yeah, they made some trades too. They've got Amari Cooper now and Randall Cobb and wide receiver. Ezekiel Elliott's still kind of in a holdout situation, although he's expected back, but that's something to bear in mind. They have a new running back that they're trying to work in, Tony Pollard. So some interesting things going on in the organization, especially if you follow it closely like I do. New York Giants. Of course, they have quarterback consternation going on. Who is it? Who's going to be their lead quarterback? Is it Eli Manning? Or is it the new kid? Is it Daniel Jones? They drafted him in the first round. He's going to make an appearance at some point, right? Well, we just don't know. Right now, they are rolling with Eli Manning, and he may be playing for his career and his legacy. So we'll see what happens there. They said goodbye to Odell Beckham Jr. Too soon. Too soon. I'm sure that too soon is about the Lee Harvey Oswald. I know there's a little bit of a delay in between what I'm saying and these comments, so just deal with that. Sorry. But they did pick up Jabril Peppers in trade for Odell Beckham Jr. Was it enough? Golden Tate has a suspension for 4 games so that he was appealing. I don't believe that has been overturned, so that's something to keep in mind. Which brings us to the Philadelphia Eagles. So, after a ton of churn at their running back position, they've decided apparently that Jordan Howard is going to be their running back. And that's the guy they're going to go with. We'll see what happens with that situation. They also moved on from Michael Bennett in defense. But they've added some pieces like Deshaun Jackson. They moved on from Nelson Aguilar at wide receiver. So there's some things to consider when you talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Not the least of which is the fact that I personally despise Philly. But some people seem to like it. Take Carson Wentz. He loves Philadelphia so much. He does his best physical impression of the Liberty Bell every single year. Sorry, had to go there, because I don't like the Philadelphia Eagles. Washington Redskins. Here we have an organization with another quarterback controversy on their hands. Dwayne Haskins, Case Keenum. Who's to say who is going to do what? So there's a little bit going on there, but something else to keep in mind about them is there's a deranged, womanizing, wealthy businessman running everything into the ground in Washington. His name is Dan Snyder, and he owns this team. Oh, snap. Now, they also have made some changes to their organization as wide receiver. So bear in mind the Washington Redskins. Also, Darius Guice was injured last year. He's back in, or he's at least rehabbing to be back in this year. He could make a big difference for the organization. The Bears. So they moved on from Jordan Howard. They made Tarek Cohen their number one wide receiver, or number one running back. And they're rolling with Mitch Trubisky. Obviously, they've got a new kicker, so that's something to keep in mind. Game-sealing doinks have become all the rage in sports. I mean, there was Kawhi Leonard's. That one tops the one in the NFL. It tops the one in the NFL wildcard game for 2 reasons. 1, it was a quadruple doink instead of a double. And 2, it actually went in. Poor Cody Parkey. Also, what's the difference between Bears fans and Marty McFly in Back to the Future? Eventually, Marty McFly stops going back to 1985. All right, so this is just getting too real here. Moving on to the Lions. So the Lions signed Jesse James at tight end. Kerryon Johnson's back from his injury, and so the team has some optimism about how the offense is going to work. It's all based on Matthew Stafford. Is he actually healthy? And a little bit of their offensive line. Can they keep him upright long enough to throw the ball? About them Lions, the Detroit Lions really should get more respect than they do. I truly believe that. After all, they managed to do what Optimus Prime never could. They finally and fully destroyed Megatron. And I want to get a like on that one, if you would. just hit that thumbs up and maybe comment saying you like that joke if you did. I personally thought it was clever. Green Bay Packers got to keep this thing moving because we're going to run out of time. The Packers obviously are hoping Aaron Rodgers is going to have a better, more upright year. They moved on from Randall Cobb at wide receiver, which was kind of a bold move, but they think that some of their other piece players, Allison, Scantling, and guys like that, are ready for the next step. And they did a whole bunch of moves at defense, so they're hoping to be better on that side of the field. So Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers' teammates are like a family to him. They never show up to his games either. But burning every team to the ground. That's what I'm doing. Just killing every single one. Minnesota Vikings. The best phrase to describe the expectations for the Vikings to make a playoff run is a Viking funeral. It's going to go up in flames. That's what the expectations they should have for a playoff run is. No, just teasing. Their offense remains largely unchanged. They just hope that they can stay healthy and their defense can do a little bit better and Kirk Cousins won't turn over the ball at crucial times. They really were so close in so many different games to a victory. They just needed a few more to tip their way instead of tip the other way. So they really do think they have the right formula, and so they didn't really do anything much to their important key players on their offense. Which brings us to Atlanta, the NFC South. The Falcons' offensive play calling is the equivalent of room temperature mayonnaise. If it were a spice, it'd be bleached white flour. So the team moved on from Tevin Coleman. They sent him over to San Francisco. They want to make Devontae Freeman and Ito Smith, I think that's his name. Suddenly my brain is drawing a blank. They want to make them the default wide receiver running backs. They've got their Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley and Mohamed Sanu at wide receiver. They've got Matty Ice, bless him, 28-3. In 60 years, I'm going to go find Matt Ryan's tombstone. I'm going to take a hammer and a chisel, and I'm going to carve in 28-3 right there on it. It just, that one's not going away anytime soon. Carolina Panthers. So, Carolina. They moved on from Devin Funchess. And Christian McCaffrey is still their chief running back. Right, real quick. Bleach white flour. Isn't that Matt Ryan's rapper alias? Okay, that is really good. That's a really good joke. But yes, so the Carolina Panthers, they are kind of try and go a little bit more speed wide receiver and power football. We'll see what happens this year for that team. I mean, Cam Newton, though, doesn't get enough credit for what he does. He really doesn't. I mean, how many running backs can say they've thrown over 100 career interceptions? I can't think of any other running backs who have done that. And the Saints, New Orleans, so close last year. Now, they did move Mark Ingram over to Baltimore, but they're sticking with Alvin Kamara, Michael. I hate it when my brain drops names, which just Michael Thomas. There it is. Michael Thomas, Drew Brees. They still have the two main backup quarterbacks who sometimes sub in for Drew Brees. They're trying to handle Drew Brees' playing time kind of like a pitch count. So the Saints think they have the right formula because they were so close. They were just a ref's flag away from the Super Bowl. Anyway, moving right along because we are almost to draft time and I know the tension is high. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Bucs moved on from Adam Humphries and Deshaun Jackson. They're sticking with Jameis Winston for right now. They have a new head coach. But the Bucs are the NFL equivalent of the proverbial tree that falls in a forest. The only reason people would notice if the team disappeared is because Cam, Matt, and Drew would have lower numbers for the year. Okay. And that brings us to the Arizona Cardinals, which is the first team in the final conference. And here we are, 5 minutes before the start of the draft. So I'm right on time. Arizona Cardinals. Arizona, the official retirement home for San Francisco quarterbacks. I mean, I guess Jimmy G has got to start getting his retirement home plans now. The team has a new quarterback, the Kyler Murray. They've got a new coach. They've got a new offensive look. It's going to be something a little bit different, and we'll see if the NFL adapts or if it's really something worth studying. So this will be an interesting year, and David Johnson's back. We'll see what he's able to do under this new system. We'll see whatever these speed demon guys. It's just going to be an air raid offense is what they call it. So exciting stuff going on in Arizona. We'll see if it's good exciting stuff or not. Which brings us to the Rams. The Rams, of course, last year's NFC Super Bowl contenders and first losers to New England. Super Bowl halftime. Maroon 5. Patriots 3. Rams 0. Who would have thought it would have been Sean McVay to make the Super Bowl boring? But in all seriousness, they really do have practically the same team in effect. So again, they're another team like New Orleans. They really feel like they've got the right recipe. They just need to put it together this time around. And San Francisco 49ers. So Jimmy Garoppolo is back from injury, so is Jerick McKinnon, but they also now have a new running back in not Tavon Austin. I said it earlier. And Tevin Coleman. And so the San Francisco 49ers, kind of that legacy team that's going through some growing pains right now, trying to find their way in the world. They had, last year was the first year of their new head coach, but now it's time to take that step forward. Public pooping, though, in San Francisco is a really pretty unique problem to San Francisco. So I know I'm getting a little bit risque, but it's kind of a serious problem. It has to be a learned behavior, right? I mean, they probably learned it from watching their football teams on Sunday. Okay, and like I said, that one's a little bit close to the line, but funny's funny, right? Final team, the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle, what do we have to say about them? Well, Russell Wilson visits the Children's Home every Tuesday. The Children's Hospital every Tuesday in Seattle. He doesn't do it because he's nice, though. He's looking for O-line talent. In seriousness, they did have Doug Baldwin retire. They drafted DK Metcalf. They believe that most of their running backs are secure, so they did move on from one of them, but he wasn't their lead running back or anything like that. So they did also pick up a couple of defensive guys. So this is a team that they're trying to. They got kicked in the first rounds by the Cowboys. They're trying to find a way to upgrade and make a little bit more of a headway into the playoffs this year. They know they're in a division with the Rams, and that makes life difficult. But they think they have a method to get to the playoffs and also to perhaps excel in the playoffs. And we'll see what happens there. Of course, no coaching changes or anything like that. So that is a roundup of what's going on in the NFL, as well as burning every team to the ground. And we are going to switch over to the draft. Because, guys, Your league is all filled up and ready to draft. That's what it says here. So, prepare. How do I get to the draft? Well, honestly, I'm not entirely sure what I've done or not done wrong on all this. Yeah. Enter live draft. Yes. Folks, it's happening. This is what we've been hoping for. And we are picking, and I am number 14. Okay. Well, I'm going to get 2 in a row. I forgot to bring my charger, so I'm going to have to let this go and let you guys enjoy the draft. I was hoping to announce what people picked, but at this point, like I said, my computer is going to shut down, so I'm going to have to shut it down. So, hey guys, it was a fun time. Hope you enjoyed, and talk to y'all later.